is a agency funding special meeting of the Maine Township Board. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Give a roll call. Go ahead, sorry.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Holman?
Yes.
Trustee Martin?
Here, yes.
Trustee Mali?
Yes.
Administrator Brennan?
Yes.
Department heads, Latinski, Lyon,
Here.
Is anyone here for public participation? Anyone? Okay. All right, well, then we would get started here. I want to welcome everyone who's here this evening. I think you probably have a list of the agencies that we're going to be talking up to in the order that you listed. So I think we'll get started right away. I think we typically ask for, Ian, is it 5 minutes for a presentation?
I said 7 to 8 minutes for presentation to allow time for questions. It's a
Okay.
10-minute long total.
All right, 7 or 8 minutes for presentation and then possible questions. So, all right, I think we'll get started. Do we have someone here from Peer Services? Hello. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. I'm Ann Brown, the Development Director at Peer Services. Peer provides substance use prevention and treatment services in Northern Cook County. Specifically here for Maine Township residents, we provide early intervention counseling and outpatient substance use treatment for low-income township residents. This includes individual and group counseling for alcohol and other drugs, and our medication-assisted recovery program for adults with opioid use disorders. Noyfrio Lopez joined Peer as our executive director 2 years ago, and last spring, Peer implemented a new clinical leadership structure, promoting 2 exceptional staff members to head our counseling and medication-assisted recovery programs. Over the past year, we added 4 new board members for a current total of 12, which both increased our board's capacity and diversity, as well as skill sets and experience. We continue to grow our treatment and prevention programs, as well as our footprint in the community, which allows us to serve more people and connect with more in need of services. So I wanted to highlight just a few of these growing programs. The first is, last fall, we added 2 new medications to our medication-assisted recovery program. Those are Suboxone and Naltrexone, in addition to methadone, which allows us to better meet the needs of individual clients. We completed the first year of our Second Chances program, which is a partnership that provides a warm pathway to substance use treatment for justice-involved individuals. We expanded our art therapy open studio program, which is a really powerful point of connection, self-expression, and motivation for many of our clients, including senior citizens. We received a grant from the state to launch a mobile MAR program, which will allow us to bring medication-assisted recovery services into the community. And finally, we received a major prevention grant through the Illinois Opioid Settlement Funds that will allow us to reach many more youth and young adults, including students at Oakton College. So I'd like to close with a brief story about how our early intervention counseling program impacted one teen from Maine Township, who I'll call Dean. Dean was referred to Peer Services last spring toward the end of 9th grade after being found with cannabis on school grounds. Dean shared with his counselor, Dragana, that he had started using cannabis in middle school and continued through freshman year, using alone or with one friend primarily to self-medicate and manage his emotions. On reflection, he wasn't happy with how ninth grade had gone. He struggled academically and felt like teachers and students had labeled him as a troubled kid. He decided he wanted to change that perception and do better in school. Over the summer, he worked with Dragana on developing social-emotional skills and positive coping strategies, from breathing techniques and journaling to joining sports teams and actively spending time with both friends and his parents on the weekends to keep busy and connected. The combination of his own motivation and support from peer helped Dean stop using cannabis and start 10th grade on a new foot. He's participating in sports and more engaged in academics. He identified a few teachers that he can go to for support and is open to making new friends who aren't using. And he feels like people don't see him as the troubled kid as much, which is something that was deeply important to him. So, thank you.
Thank you. Remain up here for a few minutes.
Of course.
I want to give the board members here a chance to ask you any questions. Any questions, board members? Okay. Or from our department heads? All right. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate your presentation.
And I should just say, we are so appreciative of the support from Maine Township over the past many years. It really helps us be able to provide the services like I just described.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there someone here from the Pickles group?
I'm ready when you are.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Cassie Horton. I'm the Executive Director of Pickles Group. We're new to you, so I'm going to give you a little bit more of a background overview. I'm very excited to talk to you a little bit about our work. So Pickles Group, we are young. We are 3 years old. We're a really quickly growing new nonprofit, and we're founded by 3 families from the North Shore, from Wilmette and Winnetka, all of whom came together when each of them were facing a parent's cancer diagnosis with kids in elementary and middle school at home. So a professor from Northwestern, a professor from the University of Chicago, 2 airline pilots who met while they were flying planes. All of them were under the age of 40 and diagnosed with serious cancer diagnoses. And they came together, they started talking about their lived experiences, and the thing that they really latched onto was the fact that their kids were having an incredibly challenging time with these diagnoses. And even with their networks and resources and all of that, they could not find adequate support to support their kids through what they were going through as parents. So kind of the spark for our organization, Molly Agnew, one of the older kiddos, she was in 5th grade at the time, went to her dad as he was going through a 2nd round of chemotherapy through his brain cancer diagnosis and said, I really wish I could be with other kids who understand what this is like. No one at school gets what I'm going through, and I can't really talk to anybody about it. So out of that, the families came together. They actually sought out a professional to support them and found a woman who's now our Chief Clinical Officer. Her name's Kelsey Mora. And she came to us from Advocate Aurora Lutheran General. She was a child life specialist right down the way. And she had a real expertise, both as a therapist and as a child life specialist, supporting children through medical trauma and grief, whether it be their own or their parents. So that was the impetus for our organization. The families met. Kelsey started working with their kids, put together a curriculum for them that was really anchored in child life best practices. It was transformative for their kids, and as soon as the parents saw that, they said, well, if we couldn't find it, what about other folks? There's probably other folks who could use this resource. So fast forward to today, we are one of the only nonprofits, not just in the community, but in the country, who is laser focused on supporting the kids of adult cancer patients. So that's specific lived experience. And the facts, there were a bunch of reports that came out last year from Brigham and Women's at Harvard, from the American Cancer Society. we are seeing more folks who are young face early onset cancer diagnoses than ever before. It's breast cancer, it's colon cancer, it's environmental factors, it's what we're eating. But the fact is that we have more folks who have kids at home as they're going through this than we ever have. And it's approximately 3.5 million people across the US. But we're seeing more and more of it as we're working with the social workers, the oncology nurses within our healthcare system here. So the children, if you have worked with schools or if you've worked with kids before, the kiddos are going through something that is defined as an adverse childhood experience. So that could be divorce of parents. My parents were divorced. My dad had a gambling addiction. But it's something challenging that kids are going through that at the end of the day, it may set them on a course towards anxiety, depression, more absenteeism, adverse kind of life results. We want to get ahead of that. We know that this is a really hard time for kids, so we want to be able to be there for them through this. And the good thing is that there is evidence on what works for this subset of kids. So the 3 things that are proven to work are coping skills, helping them develop those, peer support, putting them in community with other kids who are going through the same thing so they don't feel alone, and then helping families talk about cancer. The C word is really tough. A lot of parents don't want to talk to their kids about what's going on, and that makes things even more difficult for parents and kids alike. So that's really the anchor of what we do. So in terms of the programs that we have built up and what we're doing to serve your community, we kind of bring families in with how to talk to kids about cancer as a webinar, as a booklet, as a support kit. A lot of families, that's enough, and they kind of go through treatment quickly and they're good to go. Then we've got a 5-week core curriculum, a social-emotional curriculum that we use to deliver additional support for families who are interested. And then for families in particular who are facing advanced stage cancer, particularly challenging diagnoses, potentially terminal diagnoses, they really want to stick with us on an ongoing basis. So we have monthly opportunities for kids in person, and then we run those out of Winnetka Community House right now. So we've got kids from the township who attend that. And how we make this scalable is we actually recruit and train nurses, child life specialists, social work students. So these are folks who want the training, they want proximity to the healthcare system, to kids. It's really hard to come by the training and experience that we provide from a professional development perspective. So that's how we're making this program really scalable right now. So in our first 3 years, we've doubled our reach each year. We went from serving 120 kids to 217 kids. This year, we're on track to serve more than 400 kids directly. We've distributed more than 22,000 family cancer support kits this year, and we're really focused on deepening our reach within the township. So this year, we're serving 10 kids within the township. We'd love for that to be 20 next year, and we'll be working really intentionally with Advocate Luther in general, and also we have a great relationship with Now Endeavor Glenview as well. So just upping the recruitment efforts there. Happy to answer any questions you have about the program, and we're excited to serve families within the township.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Board members, any questions?
Page 8, it says other townships. Is that 17.5 each from New Trier and Northfield, or 17.5?
Yeah, good question. It's 15 from New Trier, and it's 2,500 from Northfield.
Thanks.
Yep.
And you're asking for 24?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Other questions for the board? From our department, yes.
So just a quick question, the number of unduplicated Maine Township clients on page 3 says that there's 7, and then in question 9, it says that you're currently serving 10.
Yeah, so it might have been reading comprehension on our thing, on our part. We took this, 7 was our first year, 10 is our second year, and we're working intentionally this coming year to recruit from the township. We're shooting for 20 next year. So 7 and then 10 is our current.
Oh.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right. From Oakland Community College Education Center.
Hello.
Hello.
I just tell you, this was one of the first presentations I did when I started at Oakton last year. I think it was a month in. So I have more answers for you this time. I know so much more. So my name is Jessie Moon. I serve as the Associate Executive Director at Oakton College Educational Foundation. I'm here to present our request for the Maine Township Scholarship Fund, which the trustees established with us last year with a generous grant. Oakton College is a community college. It serves all 450 residents of District 535. So our boundaries go as far north as Lake County, as far east as Lake Michigan, as far south as the city of Chicago, and we're sitting in our western boundary. We have campuses in Skokie. Des Plaines is our flagship campus. If you haven't visited, please come. I'll give you a tour. It's always changing. We're also opening our first physical footprint in Evanston in partnership with Endeavor Health. We're standing up 3 new associate degrees in the health careers area, all in demand with positions that Endeavor Health, Northwestern Advocate just came out with. So we are filling those roles by training students with 2-year associate degrees. We serve an incredibly diverse student body. 40% of our students are the first in their family to attend college. 20% are parents to young or school-aged children. 54 identify as students of color. Almost all work part-time, many work full-time, and our average age is 25. At the same time, we are serving students as young as 16, many students in the Maine District who are still in high school, just completed their basic nursing assistant program certificate, so they're graduating high school with that dual credit with the first credential in a nursing program because of programming Oakton offers within the high school here. I'm also, sorry, I'm 8 months pregnant and breathing and talking are like 2 days. No, I'm good. I just can't breathe. That's no, I'm totally fine.
Take your time.
So it's just easing my lungs. So that was
Take your time. Take your time.
Yes, just take your time.
No,
Take
yeah.
your time. We don't worry.
So the cost of tuition at Oakton is lower than many colleges in our area. We charge $136 per credit hour, and that hasn't changed in over 6 years. We're hoping it doesn't change anytime soon. But the Maine Township scholarship we established is still very much a lifeline because that is certainly a barrier of attendance. $136 per credit hour, while affordable, can be a barrier for a lot of students. So last year, your funding impacted 10 students. We have over 1,700 Maine Township students at Oakton right now. Our credit enrollment is a little over 6,000. That doesn't include students in our ESL programming, students in our non-credit courses, like those getting their trucking driver's license right now. These are credit courses, is what these numbers are for. And I wanted to share with you some testimonials that your scholars provided with us, to us. One student said, "This scholarship will help me meet my educational goals because it'll help me relieve the financial pressures from both myself and my parents as I continue to help support our family. During my time at a 4-year school, before I transferred to Oakton, I was beyond stressed because even with the financial aid, I wasn't able to afford it and I wasn't able to find employment, so I couldn't help pay for it. This scholarship is a game changer." And that's something we find. I said 20% of our students are parents, but many, many more are breadwinners or family contributors regardless of their parental status. Another Maine Township scholarship recipient said, "Getting a scholarship will help me and my family a lot. We're in an immigrant family. We came to the U.S. 5 years ago. That means my parents didn't have knowledge about the educational process and how to navigate it. Because of this lack of information, we couldn't prepare adequately and pay for college. I have a younger sister. She wants to go to college too, and I don't want my opportunities to limit in any way what my sister can do. I'm currently working and I plan on continuing to do so, and this scholarship would help me and my family to be more prepared for the future." And finally, earning a scholarship will greatly increase my chances of eventually achieving my career goal of becoming a lawyer. The lower cost is a large factor, and earning a scholarship justifies my decision even further. After Oakton, I want to attend a 4-year school, and I want to go to law school, and that's very expensive. So this scholarship is setting me up so I can really achieve my career goals. So those are your real scholarship recipients. We would really love to have more Maine Township scholars in the next year. We are really lucky. We receive funding from every township in our district. However, all of that funding is restricted to their residents. So the funding that we are receiving from other townships cannot go to Maine Township residents. So you are filling sort of a critical criteria hole in our scholarship awarding process that would not exist without your support.
Any questions, board members? Yep.
I'm surprised about that. I thought almost all your students are from Maine Township, aren't they?
No.
So there's other townships?
Yeah, so New Trier Township,
Okay, thanks.
Northfield Township, the Village of Skokie, Evanston Township as well.
That's all, okay.
Yeah, so we go, again, Lake County is our northern border, so think all the way to the lake, all the way to Lake County, and we actually have a lot of students from Chicago because our nursing program, our health careers program is really strong, and if you're in Rogers Park, it's far easier to get to the Skokie campus than it is to some of the city colleges.
Yeah, there's no residency requirement. That's a little-
There is a residency requirement. We are very flexible with that. So if you live or work in the town, in our district,
I
you
see.
get in
In any of
residence.
those townships, potential townships?
Yeah.
Interesting, okay, thank you. Go ahead.
And you can be admitted, you just have to pay, the cost, the credit dollar cost goes up.
A little bit extra if you're taxed. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Right, thank you all, I appreciate it.
Just one second.
sorry.
Any questions? Okay, all right, fine. Thank you very much. Anyone here from Jocelyn?
Good evening. I'm Susan Rusko, I'm the CEO and President of Joslin.
I'm Michael Shulman, Chief Clinical Officer at Joslin Center.
So we both wanted to be here tonight because this relationship that we have with Maine Township is very important to us. You are the second largest township of all the townships we serve, and we serve going way into Chicago, all the way up to the Wisconsin border, and out to McHenry County. Joslin provides outpatient community mental health services, therapy, and very hard to find psychiatry, case management, supported employment for those who may not be able to work because of their symptoms. We help them find jobs that accommodate their symptoms, or perhaps they're just not able to hold a position. And so we work with people to find positions that are more suited to their health conditions. We also have a host of children's programs and youth programs, starting, the therapy and psychiatry, of course, but also our Camp Nika, which is a summer camp that serves 100 children. And I think three or four children from Maine Township participate in that program. It's a 4-week intensive. We call it camp, and it feels like camp, but it's really a therapeutic intensive run by therapists where children who have often been shut out of Park District camps because of their behavior, they work on coping skills and behavior, and then they go on field trips. So that's the fun part. But it's a very interactive, engaging therapeutic camp. We also have an intensive outpatient program for teens, and that is for youth who are seeing a therapist and maybe seeing a doctor and receiving medication, but it's not enough. They're starting to slip. So the goal of the program is to keep them out of the hospital and return them to a regular functioning level. And it's just been an enormous, important program. So these are some of the programs. Oh, and also another one that I wanted to focus on is the living room, which is in Northfield. That is a free respite and welcoming center for anybody that's feeling isolated or in crisis, or maybe doesn't have an appointment with their therapist for several days and just feels like they need to touch base. We expanded it last year, so now it's open 17 hours a day, 365 days a year. And it's staffed by peer specialists who are people who are, have a lived experience and have been trained and certified to model their coping skills and help people along with their journey. And then there are therapists and crisis counselors available as well. So that is the program. And for those of you, Mike and I have been here 9 years, Mike's been here 8 years, and so we've really greatly appreciated our relationship with Maine. So I thought for those of you that were newer to the board, just kind of give you a history of our relationship. We were asked back in 2015 and early 2016 to provide psychiatric services here at Mainstay. And so we did that up until the pandemic. And to be honest with you, it was a little difficult for us to do that. And the reason is that Mainstay is not a medical facility. And when you're providing a medical service like psychiatry, you need a team of people to support that doctor. And that doctor was here representing Jocelyn alone. So if somebody needs to be hospitalized, that often takes a number of people. If we need a nurse on hand, we need a case manager on hand. And so it was a little bit challenging for us to provide the kind of care, the quality of care that we are able to do in Northfield and our other locations. So then the pandemic hit and we all went virtual. But then we started surveying your residents, and only 6 of them wanted to return to place-based services here out of the 80 or 90 that were receiving psychiatric care. So given the fact that we were able to provide better quality care in Northfield, and not very many people wanted to return to place-based services here, we made that decision to provide those services at Northfield. Since that time, the number of Maine Township clients has exploded. In the past 2 years, it has increased 87%. And so what we've been wanting to do, and if I can just speak a little informally, is to really have an opportunity to chat with you, to get a better understanding of why, when the number of clients from Maine Township has increased so dramatically, why the funding for our program has gone down 40% during that same 2-year period. We respect the fact that you don't allow us to have interactions and have a dialogue with the staff, and that the dialogue is done here through this program. So I'm bringing it up here to show you, to emphasize that it doesn't take a math wizard to understand that that's not sustainable. We can't increase by 87% the number of people we're serving and have a 40% decrease in funding. So we're asking you to help us because, as I said, this is something that is very important to us. It's obviously something that's very important to your residents. 360 residents are coming to Jocelyn in Northfield. They're voting with their feet. And so help us understand how we can improve this relationship so that we can receive the funding that we need, because we do look to townships or fundraising entities within townships to provide that difference in the cost of care for what Medicaid or other forms of insurance or sliding scale. So I just open it up and I'll also invite you to ask us any questions.
Board members, any questions?
As you were saying, it looks like the Maine Township clients went up from 200 all the way to 360.
Yes.
That right, from 200 in 2022, 23 to
Correct.
360. So that's what you're saying, it's going up.
Correct.
Okay, that's all.
Do you know what the number was before the pandemic?
Yep.
Just out of curiosity.
It's about 170 or 171 here.
It was 171
Yeah, about half.
19.
And that was including the clients we would see here at Mainstay as well. So sorry, that includes the claims we received here.
Okay. Wow. Can I ask you a question? Since you've got so many more people from Maine Township, have you surveyed the new people to see if they'd like to be served here in Maine Township?
We always, go ahead. So we do survey our clients in terms of quality of care and those things. We have not surveyed them to see if they want to come, it's kind of a trick. We have not surveyed them to see if they want to come back to see the services. We wouldn't want to offer something that might not be possible, but we have not asked that specific question if they want to return the service and see the prescriber here.
Department head, questions? Okay, all right, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, the harbor, do we have a representative from the harbor? Harbor, anyone here from the harbor?
No,
Not yet? Okay, fine. All right, how about lifespan? Lifespans?
Hello, my name is Amy Fox. I'm the Executive Director of Lifespan. Thank you for letting me be here this evening. We've been a longtime partner of Maine Township, so I think many of you know what Lifespan does, but I'll give you a little refresher course. How does that sound? Lifespan is a comprehensive domestic and sexual violence organization. We provide 3 key core direct services. We provide legal representation in the area of family law, so that includes parentage and owner's protection, divorces, and child support. We provide counseling to adults and to their children, individual and group counseling, and we also provide advocacy. And a large component of that advocacy is criminal court advocacy. So I don't know if you've ever been to criminal court, but certainly our survivors feel as though, you can attest, feel as though they're pretty much the least important person in the room. So, despite everyone's best efforts. So Lifespan's advocates help them navigate that process so that they're empowered to make decisions that really lead to their own safety. So as you know, we've been in Maine Township, we've been in Des Plaines, we began here in 1978, we've had a constant presence since that time. Over the past couple of years, our Des Plaines office has grown. We have added, we now have 3, we have 2 family law attorneys and an immigration attorney, a paralegal, plus, which is huge for us, we used to only have 1 attorney and it was family law. And then we have our 6 counselors, we have our outreach and education coordinator. We do a lot of outreach and education in the community during community events. We also hold quarterly, what we like to call family night events for our clients and their children. It's really an opportunity for them to get together, sort of have community with other survivors, feel less alone. And also for a number of our clients, they are really redefining their family, especially if they are no longer in relationship with their abuser. And so to give them an opportunity to come together and really work as a family has a lot of value. So that's our high overview. You know us. Do you have any questions?
We'll turn to the board members first. Any questions? Very department heads. No, I think we're good.
Okay, well.
How did you get money out of, sorry, how did you get money out of Major League Baseball?
I know, right?
$25,000.
It was a one-time award, and yeah, just I'd like to say that we had some connections, but I think the timing was right.
That's a great idea.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Cameron? How about Turning Point? Turning Point?
Good evening, everyone. is Jen Salt, and I'm the Development Director at Turning Point Behavioral Health Care Center. And I'm here with Tina Cortez, who's our Chief Clinical Officer. And on behalf of the entire team at Turning Point, I'd just very much like to thank you all so much for Maine Township's longtime support and for your important work in the community and for inviting us here to share an update on our work. Our mission at Turning Point is to provide expert, affordable, and compassionate mental health care, solid support when and where it's needed most. Located in Skokie for over 50 years now, and serving clients from throughout the Chicago metro area, Turning Point now serves over 1,100 clients a year, beginning at age 6. Approximately 100 of those clients are residents of Maine Township. 14% of our clients are children and adolescents, 34% are people of color, 54% are women and girls, and over 90% are low income. Our clients experience a very wide range of diagnoses, including schizophrenia, depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety, and many, many other diagnoses. And we provide them with outpatient therapy and extensive groups program, case management, a residential program, and free crisis support services that have very significantly expanded over the past year. Many of our clients consider Turning Point a second home. And the statement that is displayed in our lobby outlines the pledge that we make to every client that we serve. That we will guide them through difficult decisions, help to ensure their rights, treat them with dignity, respect their wishes, collaborate with them, and be there for them with solid support. This is the philosophy that guides the clinical team and that has made Turning Point a trusted resource. Turning Point has received both local and national awards and the highest accreditation rating from the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. For all of our work, the support of our funders is enormously important, of course. Insurance and fees cover only about 50% of expenses, and our request to Maine Township would help us to bridge that substantial gap. So we're so grateful for your support and for your consideration this year, and I'll turn it over to Tina to speak a little more specifically about our services.
Good evening. My name is Tina Cortez. I'm the Chief Clinical Officer at Turning Point, and I'll just talk a little bit about, give you a little summary on each of our services that we provide. Your work at Turning Point starts with our open access program, which is our intake program. We can get people in and get them assessed within 24 hours of their first contact with Turning Point and determine who would be the best fit for them. Sometimes we can get them linked up right away depending on their availability for services. If people that are working, sometimes it's harder to get them matched with somebody who's available at the exact time that they need, but we just work with people and get them in as soon as we can. Once you get through open access, you're linked to one of our many clinical programs, one of which is outpatient therapy. So we provide individual therapy, family therapy, couples therapy, group therapy, again, all on an outpatient basis. This is all voluntary services that people attend. And as Jen mentioned, the presentations and concerns that people come to us with range all the way from some sort of simple struggles in living or relationship problems to the more severe mental health issues such as schizophrenia or bipolar disorder and everything in between. And our clinicians really enjoy getting an opportunity to work with such a variety of clients. We also provide case management services to our adult clients. Case management is the service that you need when you need housing, Social Security services, Medicaid, et cetera. And so many of our people that come to us, as Jen mentioned, such a large portion of them are low income, and so it's very hard to sort of work on your higher order relationship issues when you need housing. And so we try to provide all of those things under one roof to clients that need them. Our transitional living program, we have 20 slots for adults, clients, and this is a program for somebody who needs to learn more about how to live independently. Our apartments are not staffed with Turning Point staff. The clients do live alone with a roommate who's also a Turning Point client, where they spend about 2 to 3 years learning how to live independently, how to budget, how to grocery shop, how to clean, how to, do those sorts of things. And then as soon as we're able to get them transitioned to affordable housing of their own, that's, we do that. That's sort of the crux, right, the concern that we have. We're not always able to get them into their own affordable housing as soon as we or they would like. But we work with them as long as we need to. Often our residential clients also attend services at Turning Point. A therapist, they may have a case manager, they may attend groups, they may be working. But we ask them to be in 15 hours of structured activity a week to help keep them focused on their recovery path. We also have a large community support groups program. This is our groups program that is available to our clients from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. And we have approximately 35 groups serving over 70 adult clients. Some clients come in for one group a week, some clients come in every day. It depends on their needs, their interests, their recovery goals. And these groups range in terms of skill building from, again, budgets, how to grocery shop, all the way to higher order relationship issues groups, how to get along better with people, things like that. And these groups are all back to fully being in person after being transitioned to virtual during the pandemic. We have 2 crisis programs that we are funded to run from the state. One is our mobile crisis response program. This program is 24/7, and it can either be on the phone, or we go out into the community to provide crisis services to people in their homes or in some other community location. We have been contacted by the police departments to come out and help, sometimes from clients themselves. It just really depends on the situation. And we are able to do that 24/7. The other program, and I have a lot to share about this one, is our living room program. Our living room program is a drop-in adult crisis center. It is staffed by recovery support specialists or people who identify as having lived experience with mental health issues. And they utilize that knowledge and that experience when they're working with somebody who comes in crisis. And it is a model that we've been utilizing for 11, 12 years now. And it's very, very powerful. And people find it very comforting and supportive to come in and speak to somebody who's been there and can say, I hear you, and here's how I got out of it. Maybe this can help you. The state, in the last 3 years, they're now funding living rooms all across the state of Illinois, and they're asking that living rooms become 24/7 locations. Our Skokie location is now 24/7. People can come to us at any time, any day, for in-person services, not inpatient. In fact, our goal,
We usually ask participants to limit their comments to about 70 minutes.
Oh, sorry, okay.
And our board members sometimes have questions to ask.
Sure, okay.
So if you'd like perhaps to please wrap it up?
That was our big news for the year. We opened 24/7. We also opened our Evanston location as of October 1st. They are not 24/7. And we also now have a mobile living room that is going out in the community and providing services in various locations, local libraries, things like that.
All right, thank you. Do the board members have any questions? Is that a yes, Drew?
No, I just wanted to note that it looks like the total cost of services provided in Maine Township clients is $359,000. 548, right? Page 2, and you're only asking for 50. So, kind of, that's what I wanted to know. All right, thank you.
Any other department heads have questions? Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone from the harbor here now? Okay, all right, yes, let's go on.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Melody Rose. I'm the Executive Director at the Harbor. I'm thrilled that this is my third year coming to present to you as the Executive Director. I joined the Harbor team as a longtime partner and a referral source for youth experiencing a housing crisis. So youth who were either locked out of their home, experiencing homelessness, or have run away. And the Harbor has been around for over 50 years, centralized in Park Ridge and the Maine Township area since the early 80s. And this has really been an incredible community for us to grow and to really nurture the programs that we have from the moment we start our community outreach through our emergency shelter program that's in Des Plaines, and also our transitional housing programs, one of which is also housed here in Des Plaines. So we have a nice continuum of care that allows, from the outreach point, the main goal is to raise awareness and to create access points in the community to critical youth housing services. Usually that's the number one barrier that young people experience, is knowing that the services are out here. And so we've been on a campaign with our outreach to reach as many young people in the high schools in particular. So Maine Township has been an incredible resource for that as well, because we've had a lot of engagement with Maine East, especially given its proximity to our offices around the corner. And also the involvement of key partners like the Kiwanis Club of Park Ridge, who was able to really work with us and help. Last year they brought over 50 young people from the local key clubs to our awareness event called Light the Night. And their participation led us to receive national recognition for involvement in young people in this cause. And that's because of Maine Township and the special relationship that the community has with us as a long-term partner. We've also been expanding our work with our emergency shelter. As I said, we built a shelter that opened in spring of 2022. In the same location as our former shelter, and increased capacity to 10 beds. But unlike anything I've ever seen, both in my time at the Harbor as well as my time as a provider who was referring youth to the shelter, it's been full constantly for the last year. Part of that may be due to the outreach work, but it also means that we're serving more young people and that the word is getting out there. And so we've been looking into additional ways that we can expand that without having to build another shelter. We just did that. We have other options. So we started a host home program that allows us to recruit and license homes within the community. I mean, our shelter is beautiful, but also young people, especially minors, need to be as close to their home communities as possible, because we have youth referred from all over the northern suburbs and Chicago proper. Yet Maine Township has still been one of the areas that has significant referrals. 12 is a lot that we've had for this past year from Maine Township and the shelter. That's not something that is usually talked about in the dialogue of homelessness and housing needs. So we're pleased to be able to expand that initiative as well. And lastly, our transitional housing programs offer longer-term support for youth 17 to 23. And those are independent households that are leased. Like I said, one is in Des Plaines, but we have properties all the way from Schaumburg through Evanston, where young people are able to stay and work with case managers who help teach them life skills, money management, employment readiness, and long-term career planning. So we have been so excited over the past year for those transitional programs to bring in new outside providers. That was something that we weren't allowed to do during the pandemic. And the combination of the world being reopened with DCFS licensed agencies with an incredible and just unparalleled gift that we received last year allowed us to start an art therapy at the arts program. And this allows for us to provide youth with different ways of engaging with therapeutic modalities. A lot of the youth who come to us may not have had the greatest experience with therapy previously. So we want to find ways to engage them through the different arts. And thus far, it's been very successful in working with a partner called Open Studio Project, who focuses on art therapy. And we've been doing that at our sites here in Maine Township, as well as Skokie. And it's been incredible to see youth who haven't even been able to engage in the therapeutic process take that first step. It's huge. So we very much appreciate the opportunity to present to you and certainly welcome any questions and appreciate the long-term partnership. Thank you.
Two board members have any questions? What about our departments? Chris, go ahead.
In the last page, is this a condensed version of your budget, or is this your actual budget on the last page?
Oh, that's not attached to my, I think that's our budget.
Okay. I
Yes.
applaud you for line items, it's nice to meet.
Well, this is the bare revenue and expenses. If you need anything that's further built up, this is what we've submitted in the past, but we can also submit anything more.
Last page, right?
Yeah. Would that be helpful? We can submit that.
Yeah, do you mind? Can you?
Sure. Yeah, would you like the full FY 20?
Yeah, I think usually that's what the agencies have done in the past, but this is what you're saying every year, this is what you submit.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
If you
it's
can't.
no problem.
Yeah, you can email
Well, it's
it.
predicted, right? This is your predicted budget for the next year. It says fiscal year 25 budget, so you just predict it, right?
Right.
That's all.
Exactly, but I understand we have more details that we can offer, so I'll send that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a representative from Canwin here? Yes, okay, would you like to step up?
Looks like I made it just in time. Hello, good evening. My name is Miley, or Smiley. I am the new grant coordinator at Canwin. I just started this year. It's a relatively short amount of time considering Canwin's 35-year history. We're actually doing our 35th gala next spring, and you're all invited. But just to speak a little bit about Canwin, we are located right here in Maine Township. But Canwin works to eradicate gender-based violence in Asian American and Asian immigrant communities and beyond through survivor-centric services, grassroots leadership building, and peer-to-peer education. What sets us apart from other social service organizations, of course, we have very deep partnerships with a lot of social service organizations here in Maine Township. But what sets us apart is that we have a unique commitment to limited English proficient survivors, or LEP survivors. And our expertise really lies with working with the Korean community, the Mongolian community, and the Mandarin-speaking Chinese community. A little known fun fact that I learned when I started working at Canwin is that the Chicagoland suburbs has the second largest population of Mongolian immigrants in the U.S. And unfortunately, a lot of them fall through the cracks of social service organizations that either don't work with domestic violence survivors or do not offer realistically accessible resources. So as compassionate community leaders, I'm sure you can empathize with the intersecting barriers that survivors who are new to this country or who do not speak English as a first language can face when seeking help. Simple tasks like opening a bank account or calling 911, safety measures that we take for granted, like knocking on the door of a neighbor when we are experiencing hardship. Things like that become insurmountable barriers for survivors who don't speak English. So what our staff aims to do is we are trained to provide culturally competent and linguistically accessible resources. A lot of our staff are bicultural and bilingual, and we work with survivors within our own communities. who come to us. Of course, we will never say no to anybody who calls our hotline or knocks on our door, but our expertise really is in the Asian American community here in Maine Township. That being said, Kenwood is respectfully requesting a modest grant of $5,000 to support our multilingual domestic and sexual violence services. Last year in Maine Township alone, we served 75 individual survivors through our comprehensive case management and crisis intervention. And that number is no small feat when you consider the service hours and the community support that goes into supporting an individual who is escaping a cycle of violence. So I also want to highlight some of the work that our community engagement teams and our multilingual advocacy program does in Maine Township. We are really trying to do more outreach, especially because we are located here. We're in Park Ridge. We are really trying to do more community initiatives to deepen our relationship with students and the faith-based communities. So our faith-based advocate is working with the Korean Churches Federation of Greater Chicago to plan a year-long series on child sexual abuse prevention education with Korean churches in Maine Township, as well as our CET, which is the Community Education and Outreach Team. They are working with students. I do believe that last year they participated in the student government initiative that we have in Maine Township that connects students with local nonprofit organizations. We also have our YPAL program, which is our Youth Peer Advocacy Leadership Program, which takes a peer-to-peer advocacy model, which is really beneficial when talking about taboo topics such as teen dating violence or sexual harassment in schools. So we are leading initiatives within schools and churches to ensure that our communities are vibrant, safe, and invested in each other. Those are my main points, I guess. I want to thank you for your time and your attention this evening and your continued support of Kenwood's work. And I would love to answer any questions that you have.
All right, thank you. Are there any board members who have a question? Anyone about questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evening.
Okay, we will now turn to Advocate Lutheran General, the Older Adult Services, Home Delivered Meals.
Well, the time has come. I have to wear reading glasses now. So, I've been presenting here for 23 years. You can imagine, I'm aging in place here, I think. So my name is Mindy. I'm the manager of Lutheran General Older Adult Services. And I've been, in January, I'll be here 24 years. I'm proud to say, with one department, which is amazing. Lynna is also here. She can give you a little who she is and what she does.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lynna Modestus, and I'm the Information and Resource Coordinator and Advocate Older Adult Services with Mindy. I've worked with the department for just about 10 years now, and I oversee several different programs, including home delivered meals.
So something I just want to share is how long our programs have been running. Our home delivered meal program, believe it or not, is the longest. We're hitting our 53-year mark this year, which is pretty amazing to see a program last that long. The adult daycare is on 44 years. Information referral that Lynna coordinates is on 36 years. And our new program is on their 12th year, which is Expressions, a program for people with early memory loss. Just to give you a basis about what home delivered meals is, home delivered meals provides meals for residents of Maine Township who are at risk, homebound, elderly, can't get out, can't cook, really isolated by themselves. We are the eyes and the ears for the people in this community to make sure that they get a hot, nutritious meal, mostly 5 days per week. Some people double up and get a meal as well on Fridays so they have some food. In a few minutes, Lynna will talk a little bit about what that looks like and all the scenes that we found in the community this year. But basically, Lynna goes into the home, we get a referral usually from the hospital, the social workers, the care managers, Maine Township. We go into the home free of charge, we do an in-home assessment. So that's when we're seeing what other services can we hook them up with. It's not just meals. Maybe they need food pantry. Maybe they need information with SHIP, help with open enrollment for Medicare. So we help them up, we see what they need, and then we get a note from the doctor. We have all different diets depending on what they need. There's renal gluten-free, mechanical puree. A lot of these people that we're seeing have a special diet. Once we get the paper from the doctor, we can begin delivering the meals. It's all volunteer-based. So other than Linda going into the home and doing the initial assessment, everything else from all the drivers is all volunteer-based. All the food comes from the hospital. We pick it up on our buses with our staff, drive it over to our site, and dispense it according to what volunteers are driving each day. And Linda's going to tell you a little bit more heartfelt story about the program itself.
First, I just want to start and say I'm so proud to help coordinate the home delivered meals program once again this year for older adults and adults with disabilities in the Maine Township community. The role continues to be a very rewarding and fulfilling part of my job. And due to your support, the program is thriving in the community, as are the individuals who receive our meals. For those who are unable to prepare or access meals on their own due to physical, mental, or cognitive challenges, excuse me, the Home Delivered Meals program offers the opportunity to improve their sense of well-being and enhance their quality of life. Thanks to your assistance, the program continues to greatly decrease hunger, malnutrition, social isolation, loneliness, and depression within the aging population, as well as for adults with disabilities. These meals not only provide well-balanced nourishment for the physical body, but I also feel like they nourish the mind and the soul of the residents of Maine Township. It works as an important safety check for vulnerable individuals in the community as well. Through the delivery of these meals, we are able to monitor, safeguard, and provide necessary outreach to those in need. As Mindy mentioned, the drivers in the Home Delivered Meals program are volunteer-based. They're all certified through Lutheran General's Volunteer Department. And they're helping deliver the meals from the goodness of their heart. I truly feel that they, through their actions, embody the true definitions of compassion and selflessness. Both drivers and meal recipients are able to get to know each other through their interactions and create a meaningful bond. The positive feedback that we receive about the program is always wonderful to hear, and I want to share a few highlights of that. There's one meal recipient that's been struggling to recover from several health ailments over the last year, and due to our consistent meal delivery, she feels that she's regained her strength and energy, and in fact her doctor cleared her to take a bucket list trip to the Canadian Rockies with her son in recent months, so she's very grateful for our program. Another meal recipient often comments that she's lonely. And one of the bright spots of her day is the meal delivery and seeing the volunteer. And this simple human contact is critical for all of our existence, no matter what age, but she really feels that the Home Delivered Meals program helps her to feel better, not just physically, but emotionally too. And lastly, one of our meal recipients has been undergoing cancer treatments while living alone. Prior to one of her meal deliveries, she ended up calling the paramedics, and in the midst of all this was able to call me to cancel her meal because she didn't want to waste the food. So I immediately called her sons to explain the medical emergency that was going on, and later on they just were so grateful for the existence of this program and very comforted by it, that it was a special lifeline to their mom and an extra way that we can look out for her. So in conclusion, I just want to reiterate that Advocate Older Adult Services truly appreciates and values your support, your long-standing support, as do our meal recipients, who can maintain their independence as well as feel more empowered, nourished, protected, and socially connected due to your assistance. So thank you again for helping to make Maine Township a better place to live and thrive, especially as we grow older.
Express my gratitude and appreciation for what you guys do, because you make our community a better place to live in.
Thank you so much.
Do you have questions?
Thank you.
I have a question. You do charge for your meals, except if someone is determined to be low income, is that correct?
sliding fee scale.
There it is, okay. So what would be the most someone would pay?
So the most they pay currently is $6 per meal.
Okay, and then some people pay nothing, is that correct?
You know, we always try to get something, even if a lot of people can't afford all of it and they need 5 days a week. So if we can take a little bit of the Maine Township money and other grant money that we get and say, hey, you know, we'll pay for 1, can you pay for 2? And that's, you know, what it is. Or we'll say instead of the $6, can you afford $5 per meal? But, you know, we try to assist with something with the grant. Obviously, the grant money can't go for every single person, but as far as it can be used is what we'll use it for. So right now, I think there's a couple people that are at a reduced rate. I don't think, there might be one, I'd have to check, that's getting maybe 1 meal for free, and he's able to pay for 1 meal is the way it is. So we kind of help out like that. Yeah.
Any questions from department heads? Thank you very much.
Thank you for running on time and being early. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, advocacy center, on time.
Hello, good evening. It's not only on time, but maybe a little early.
There's our early.
Yeah. So I'm Melanie Pagnati. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Children's Advocacy Center of North and Northwest Cook County. I'll say CAC moving forward throughout the brief presentation for short. Thank you for the opportunity to speak briefly this evening about the necessity of our organization and its vital services. The Children's Advocacy Center, CAC, is child-focused, trauma-informed nonprofit bringing help, hope, and healing to young survivors of abuse and violence. CAC's mission is to empower children to overcome trauma from physical and sexual violence through empathetic collaboration and culturally sensitive services for victims and their families. From the forensic interview to the last therapy session, CAC provides comprehensive services to ensure that our clients are building resiliency to live safer, healthier lives. This is actually my third year presenting to you all, and so in preparation, I thought maybe this year I would share a client story rather than repeating myself for information that you have in your application. So I'll do that. Ever heard the adage, teamwork makes the dream work? Cliche as it may be, it holds true at CAC. CAC's service model in both comprehensive and collaborative. Not only do staff work with our community-based multidisciplinary team members in the investigative stage, but our own staff work collaboratively across internal teams. CAC's victim advocates and trauma therapists often support our clients for months at a time throughout the duration of a legal case or their ongoing counseling sessions, working together to bring hope and healing. Recently, one of CAC's victim advocates played a key role in helping Sonia, a teenage client, begin to process her trauma and make progress in her healing journey. Sonia had disclosed to a friend that she was sexually assaulted while working at a restaurant. Her friend helped her report the assault to her supervisor, and her supervisor told her that because she was under 18, they had to report her assault to the police. Sonia didn't want to report the assault, but her supervisor called the police anyway. Sonia felt terrified to get the police involved. She didn't want to upset her family or create more stress for everyone. Despite being very nervous and uncomfortable telling her story, Sonia felt pressure to go along with the report. At her family's urging, she decided to come to the CAC for a forensic interview. While at the CAC, Sonia became even more unsure about going through the process. However, her CAC victim advocate helped her understand her rights and encouraged her to engage in the process as much as or as little as she wanted. Sonia's victim advocate helped her understand that it was her choice to report as much as she was comfortable with and provided her with education on how to pursue charges in the future should she choose to do that. Sonia's CAC victim advocate also helped her with her therapy services. Since her victim advocate helped her feel so understood and heard during the investigative process, Sonia was able to feel safe enough at CAC to tell her story during therapy. Sonia
completed a trauma narrative with her therapist and was able to understand that what happened to her was not her fault and that she did everything she could have to keep herself as safe as she could. Sonia finished therapy and was able to move forward from her experience, confident that she had made the right choices for herself. This is just one story out of almost 500 children referred to the CAC a year. In other news, I wanted to highlight some updates from our center. We celebrated our 35th anniversary. I think one of the other agencies just said the same thing, but in August we had a big bash, so congratulations to us for all the good work over 35 years, and I know the township has been a part of that as a partner for quite some time. The CAC received funding for capital improvements at our main location in Hoffman Estates, so over the next couple of years we'll be doing some improvements to our facility and maybe even additions, which would be super exciting. We established an on-site medical clinic this year so that children can have their non-acute or follow-up examinations at the CAC where they've already been for their forensic interview. We're partnering with Advocate Lutheran Children's Hospital, and so those qualified medical providers are able to come on site at our child-friendly center to do those exams once a month, and we're hoping to expand that. And lastly, our staff have been focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion, so they formed a staff-led committee with goals and objectives that we'll be focusing on over the next several years. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about the application or the organization. Thank you so much. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Someone here from Miracle House?
Good evening. I'm Catherine Matuza, and I'm the president of the Board of Directors at Miracle House. I have some notes here, excuse me. So Miracle House is a halfway house for women who are recovering from the addiction of alcoholism and sometimes some other drugs in the city of Des Plaines. Excuse me, get rid with these on. We offer them the opportunity and support needed to begin their journey into recovery. Our primary purpose is to provide temporary housing for these women and to aid in their rehabilitation through the application of the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous. We have a 5-bedroom, our home is 2 bedrooms. We have capacity for 5 beds. We've been in service approximately 30 years in the community, to the recovery community. We offer meetings every week, Alcoholics Anonymous meetings every week, except for every day of the week except for Mondays. We do have an open AA meeting on Sundays if anybody would care to come in here. Our residents are required to obtain work, and they do pay rent weekly. The average stay per resident is about 3 to 6 months. We do appreciate the help that Maine Township has provided, and we also, in addition to the rent that the residents pay, we also augment our funds through several fundraisers. This past year we had our gala, which was it was kind of a lower, scaled down gala. It was our 30th birthday, so we had a 30th birthday bash in May. And actually, we reduced our overhead, kind of a less formal event, and we had a better profit of it, so yay us. We have an annual garage sale. We have a fall fest, where we raise money through raffles, and we also partner with Kiwanis with their annual peanut day. Let's see. Miracle House has also, last year, we established an outreach committee which helped us put our presence out there a little further so that people know who we are and the services that we offer. Last year, we participated in the Maine Township One Pill Can Kill program. We participated in it was the, I'm going to call it like kind of an event, networking event, association networking event that took place, I think, in May at Nanzo's on Elmhurst Road. And now, in 2 days, we're going to be participating in the trunk or treat program, which I'm excited. I'll be there. Let's see. And one more. Oh, so, like I said, in addition, well, you know, we have our fundraisers and we try our best to live and operate within our means. This year, however, we did have to repair and replace our front porch and the back stairs and the ADA ramp, which cost us about $8,000. So it was a little hit, but we had it, thank goodness. And I think that's all I have.
This year's request is a little higher than normal. Could you explain why you're asking for a little more than you normally do? Did your expenses go up, or?
Yes, you know, especially the groceries and utilities, yes. We've also had some repairs that we had to make to our washer and dryer.
Okay. And then I have a note here, it says cost per Maine Township client is $4,452. That's a posted in that pattern? So,
yes.
Can you explain that, what that means, basically?
Well, so if we took our average, the money that we have every year, and we just divided it amongst the residents, because we included that as a whole, their housing, the groceries, the utilities, cable, everything.
Okay, that's what you're spending?
Yes.
Realistically per Maine Township?
Yes.
Okay, pretty good. Okay, thank you.
Do you do any work with our Recovery Connection program?
Yes. Yeah.
And do you want to tell us a little bit?
Well, I don't know any work, but we kind of sponsor each other's events, so that's how we do that.
Have you had like a yoga program there during the past year? Or?
No, that's through the Maine Township.
Okay, so how many residents do you have living there now?
We have a full house actually, right now, so we're very happy about that.
That is what, 7?
5.
5. Okay, and you're sending a vehicle to trunk or treat, is that it?
Yeah, we're going to be participating. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, questions for the department?
I just wanted to hear more about, I know in the past you've had some difficulty attracting residents. You've been much more successful at that recently.
Yes,
Can you
we
talk a
have.
little bit about what you've been doing that's been working?
So, you know, we've just strengthened our relationships with the treatment centers in the area, Rosecrans, Gateway, Share, and Hoffman Estates. So, and it also, you know, we just kind of made a concerted effort to, like I said, put ourselves out there and to reach out to the other AA meeting places, you know, and also, you know, sometimes we support each other at our events, our fundraising events, because, you know, not just men have, you know, alcoholic problems. So, and when Miracle House has a presence at, say, the First Step House event, they're like, oh, well, there's a local place for women to get help. So that's really helped us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Beautiful.
Also here from Isaac Walton, please.
Good evening. We are here representing the Des Plaines chapter of the Isaac Walton League. My name is Helmut Slackages. I am a board member, and along with me is Mike Cherowitz, our treasurer. We are the local chapter of the Isaac Walton League of America. The league is the defender of our nation's soil, air, water, woods, and wildlife. The Isaac Walton League is considered one of the oldest conservation organizations in America, established in 1922. they can claim that they were active or initiated every successful conservation program in place today in America. Our local chapter is the Des Plaines chapter of the Isaac Walton League. We are located at 1841 South River Road in Des Plaines. We were established in 1926 and are one of the oldest chapters. In 1929, the Forest Preserve of Cook County granted us a perpetual lease for the use of the grounds and buildings at our current site. Our property encompasses 15 acres with 2 buildings on the premises, 14 wood duck boxes, and 4 outhouses. Our basic philosophy is to get people outside and enjoy nature. And nowadays, also getting people away from their screens and technology. Our meeting place is one of the oldest houses in Des Plaines, the Jefferson Farmhouse, built in 1856. Our obligation to the Forest Preserve is to maintain the property, house, with a caregiver living on premises. We meet on the first Thursday of every month with 3 major fundraisers per year. As with most nonprofit volunteer organizations, membership and participation over the years has been dwindling. As our membership also continued aging, we knew we had to make some changes. A few years ago, we started to get more active in the local community and associating with more local nonprofit organizations. We have nearly doubled our membership, getting close to 70 members. 95% of those members are Maine Township residents. We know that expanding our current programs and creating new activities will enhance our organization and also benefit local residents. Some of our current activities are maintaining the hiking trails on our property, repairing and cleaning wood duck and owl houses, our annual river cleanup, working with Cleanup Give Back Des Plaines, our annual tea and history afternoon with the Des Plaines Historic Society, assisting with fishing derbies sponsored by the Des Plaines Park District, working with different scouting groups, allowing the property use for overnight camping, merit badge completions. Previously, we had an Eagle Scout project that mapped and established the age of our oak trees, and some of them are close to 200 years old. This year, we have started to rejuvenate the woods back to native species that involves the Forest Preserve and numerous volunteers. As I mentioned earlier, we are all volunteers with almost no funds for our events. 2 weeks ago, we held a Blue Bash campfire with over 100 participants. The Maine Township residents were able to walk the trails, participate in scavenger hunt, and be outside that evening. The highlight were the animals that we brought in. Children were able to see bats up close, hold snakes, and other reptiles. The joy and smiles from the kids was spectacular. This does cost money, and at this time we did get a sponsor, but that has been rare. We also have had beehives on our property. Unfortunately, the beekeeper has retired. We need to be looking for a local person that can maintain them and also give classes to residents that have an interest in beekeeping. In closing, we are requesting funds so we can expand these programs, create new ones. With the funds, we will be able to get more animal educational and recreational programs to Maine Township residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
Board members?
Yeah, I've actually been to your place before.
Wonderful. Very few people have.
It's actually wonderful. I went to one of the beekeeping seminars, so I'm very sad to hear that he is
Retired, yes. I guess he's from Carroll Stream, you can't drive that far.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll find somebody.
Yes.
And then, you know, we should consider maybe getting a chicken coop and some.
We have talked about that.
I can help you out with that. So you just said your plans are for, it just says promote more outdoor activities, but it sounds like you have specific plans to, like, not just promote, but to actually use that money to bring in programming.
Correct. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. Yeah, we got another program set up for, I think, wolves or something coming in a month or something. And that is all usually free. You don't charge anything to come in, and it is open to the residents.
Did you ever need any funding, because the building is quite old?
We are working on that at a
Okay, I was
different
wondering
source.
if you were looking
Yeah.
for funding as well to sort of
No.
maintain.
Yeah, we are looking at that at a different source.
Okay.
Yes. We're, the windows are original. And
Yeah, the
we
floor
have-
goes like this.
Yes, yeah, we have fixed that a little bit,
Yeah.
but yes.
That's great.
Is your building open to the public at times, or is it?
The building is not, the land is open. You can walk the property at any time.
Okay, and is there a caretaker?
Yes, we have to have a full-time caretaker there all the time.
You don't have any paid staff, you just have volunteers, is that right?
Nobody gets paid.
These fundraisers that you're going to have, is that going to be on the property, like the?
Yes, we usually do a pig roast, but this year we didn't cancel it because the pig roaster broke, which was a shame. The other one, we do have a turkey raffle coming up in November, and then our biggest fundraiser is in February, where we do a game dinner. Everyone brings in game, and we have a wild game, and that is one of our nicer evenings there. And last year, I think we sold out almost. But it's not the biggest fundraisers in the world either, we're talking, yes. So.
You've never had weddings there, have you? Oh, just the open area is just really pretty.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I had a question. I like your name, Soil, Water, Air, Woods, and Wildland. Is there a federal organization? I've heard of it called Soil, Water, Air, and Trees, maybe. Are you familiar with that, by any chance?
No.
Because there's I thought there's a federal
Back to the
organization.
thing is with Isaac Walton's league motto is the soil.
Isaac Walton's pledge.
Yes.
I see. Well, that's what I'm reading your pledge, and I want to say there's a federal organization of people.
It's an actual organization.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
That's what I'm saying.
We are the Des Moines
You
local
heard of that?
chapter of that.
Have you heard of that? The reason why I know this is because the Charles Manson followers, not connected to you, were in such an organization. And they were real active in it. So, maybe you can get some money. But they called it soil, tree, water, and air, oxygen, water, and trees, but not wildlife, which they, for somebody who Francis forgot about wildlife. They were the wildlife threads. So maybe we should reach out to them and find out. Federal, maybe they help.
Okay, all right, any further questions? Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too, thank you.
Interesting, yeah.
Oh, it is? Yes.
All right, next agency is the Northwest Center Against Sexual Assault. Feel free to start.
I am Rebecca Pasolini with the Northwest Center Against Sexual Assault. Nice to see many of you again.
Sorry, can you start again?
Lift it?
Sorry.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Rebecca with the Northwest Center Against Sexual Assault, Northwest CASA for short. We provide services to survivors of sexual violence and their loved ones. We've been around, so next year will be 50 years since we've been founded. And we are working to put ourselves out of business tirelessly. This year, we are always grateful for year after year to have the support from Maine Township. We serve many Maine Township residents. We provide 24-hour medical advocacy support when a survivor is brought into the hospital. We are dispatched to that hospital to provide information and be the person that provides support to them. We do, our largest hospital is Lutheran General in your area, and especially because of the pediatric department, because over 30% of our clients are children at this time. And then we also have, and the medical advocacy is usually where we first come in contact with folks from the community. And then we also provide trauma counseling, we provide general advocacy, legal advocacy if it goes through a court system, and then we have a 24-hour hotline available to all the residents in Maine Township. And then I think that one of the most important things to know is that all of our services are free and that we have no sliding scale and we charge no one, because we just feel like cost should never be a barrier to finding healing from this type of violence in the community. I think the big thing to share new this year, because last year when I came here, I feel like we were having a huge Boca Con and we had just lost $300,000 and it was kind of we were in a little bit of a turmoil. But this year I'd just like to share that we had a really big win and that the legislators have gifted us $1 million of capital funding to be able to buy a building. So we'll have the first ever Hope Center for survivors of sexual violence in the northwest suburbs. I think that's a very big win. So we are actively looking, seeing where we want to place our new home. Right now we're in a building that we've been in since 1983 and we're just stacked on top of each other in offices and have to kick each other out for meetings or phone calls because a lot of the work we're doing is confidential and requires that. So we're just really excited for that opportunity to move into a space and be able to share that space with the community and do more community-focused things. But that's all. That's my update for this year.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Do any of the board members have any questions? Or interpreters? All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Center of concern.
Recognized you.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much for having us. I am so excited to be here. My name is Nicole Coomer. I'm the new Executive Director of the Center of Concern. And I'm joined by Greg Eklund. He is our Assistant Director at the Center. And I'm very excited just to share a little bit of the insights that I've garnered over the last, honestly, number of weeks as the new Executive Director. Just a little bit about our organization's history and the work that we do. So we were founded in 1978 here in Maine Township, and we have since grown to more than 2,000 clients through 100,000 hours of service and 35,000 individualized services. So we have an incredible world-class staff. Our staff includes professionally trained case managers, housing counselors, and program coordinators, and we have a large network of approximately 300 volunteers who give selflessly of their time and efforts. It's really an amazing thing to witness as someone new to the community. So we offer programs and services across 3 different areas. So that includes our housing assistance programs, our community services, and our older adult services. So our housing assistance programs are for individuals and families of any age. It's for individuals that are at risk of homelessness or are experiencing housing insecurity. And some of the programs affiliated with that include emergency and rapid rehousing, some ongoing case management, financial assistance, housing counseling, and we actually have one of the oldest home sharing programs in the United States, which definitely has stood out to me, very much so. We also offer, as I mentioned, community services for people with low incomes who otherwise would lack access to professional services. So this includes legal counseling, for example, income tax preparation, financial counseling, and even a little bit of employment counseling as well. And finally, our older adult services. These are comprehensive and they're designed to essentially help our clients stay aging in place and connected to critical resources. So some of these programs include, for example, grocery delivery, some of our telephone reassurance calls and friendly visits, our dementia support group, and of course, educational workshops, our congregate lunches. I got to play some Scrabble today, which was very wonderful with some of our attendees of our recent lunch, and also our in-home chore housekeeping program. So recently, in the area, Catholic Charities ended their suburban operations, and that includes actually closing the office that is just around the corner from ours. So the Center of Concern has received an increased number of requests, and we anticipate that number to continue to grow. So we need your help to continue offering and expanding these services in our community. We're excited to be here, and we love to serve our community. And we just really appreciate all that you do for us, and we are very excited to continue offering those services. Thank you again so much for your time, and we're happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions from the board members? Or from the department?
Just curious, where do you get the congregate meals? Where do you have your meals?
So the congregate meals take place, what is the name? It's Messiah Lutheran Church here in Parkridge.
We were wondering, we used to have some here. I think there was some.
We didn't focus like 2 or 3 of the programs here downstairs, and you had the displays, museum, the historical society coming to a great presentation. It's wonderful.
We did some here. That's so exciting. I'm still, onboarding and learning about all the wonderful partnerships that we have in the community, and that's been just really thrilling for me to learn about all the different ways that we work together to just support our community. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, there's a person for that. I remember it was very interesting. People really liked it. So, okay. Any other questions from the department? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And finally, we have Mr. Independence.
Hey, good evening. All right. Looks like I'm the last one on your docket, so I guess you're happy to see me then. It's probably been a long time. Well, thank you. My name is Bob McNamara, and I'm with Avenues to Independence. I am the Vice President of Development at Avenues, and I've just started there within the last 8 months. So while I am new to Avenues, I should note that I am a resident here in Park Ridge. We have 3 kids at Avenue South currently, and 1 in St. Paul, so not new to Maine Township and the community. Over the last several months, I think what I've learned about Avenues is how integrated it is into the community. Many of you probably know of our programs, having served in the roles for some time, but we serve adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities, right? And Avenues has been part of the community for over 70 years. And I guess what is important to that is so many of our clients call this community home. They live here, right? We have 7 group homes in Maine Township. We have 5 in Park Ridge and 2 in Des Plaines. Our support home-based services for adults with developmental disabilities who live with family serves another 58 individuals in the community. We provide employment services for about 40 different individuals in the community. And then lastly, we have about 135 who take part in our day programming, which is held at our Center for Independence, where they get job skills training, computer training, art, music, different types of activities that they choose on a day-to-day basis, and that's in Wheeling. So I know that Maine Township, when I was learning a little bit more, as I sort of knew, has providing funding avenues for almost 40 years. And in that time, your support has helped us to deliver our mission, but also to help us create that sense of home. And I think that's probably one of the key things that we look at when these adults are looking for their next chapter in life, right? After school services and things like that, and they are adults, there aren't a lot of places for them to go. And there are a lot of institutions, type places where they can go. There's not a lot of places like Avenues that adds that extra level of care. And right now, we have over 74 people on our waiting list. And in the state of Illinois, there's 16,000 people on the waiting list, right? So organizations like ours are incredibly important. And I'm happy to say that we're looking to expand our residential program. We will have 5 new veterans up and running this year. And then we are also very close to getting a reclassification from the state that will allow us to turn one of our multi-unit buildings over near Greenwood and Tui into full capacity. So right now they have restrictions on how many people you can have on one roof, but that's based on a house, and these are apartment buildings, which will allow us to have another 16 beds. So that would be 21 people over the next 18 months that will be moving into our facilities. And that's a process, right? They have to be matched with the right type of case manager, et cetera. And so while that may seem like a small dent, right? When we say there's 16,000 people on the waiting list in Illinois, I think the other way to look at it is at Avenues, our clients live with us for over 20 years. So when we finish this round of increased residential living, that's over 400 combined years of people calling Avenues home. That's really significant. And with that, then comes how do they integrate into the community? And a big part of that is how they work. Right? They gain their dignity just like we all do from the work that we do and earning a paycheck and gaining that independence. And they're working at Jewel, Culver's, office buildings, a number of different places in the community. And so this year, our grant request with Maine Township would look at directly at our community employment services and how we can increase the number of jobs in our community. I'm happy to take questions. I may not know all of the answers at this stage with Avenues, but I do again want to just thank you for your continued support. I know you support a lot of different organizations in the community. I know it's been a long night of hearing these short presentations from people, so whatever questions you have, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, it looks like you're asking for a little less than this year. So you're being modest, you're going down a little bit, which is unique, so.
Yeah, you know, they made that decision before I started because I would have some more, but.
Very good, yeah, thanks.
Because I am the fundraiser, so.
All right, great. And how much, it doesn't say, did you get any money from Park Ridge, the village of Park Ridge itself?
From the city of Park Ridge? I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. We can get it for you, but I don't think we do.
They should.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, you push on it a little bit, so.
But we do, each client, I don't know if you know, each client also comes with their stipend directly from the state. Right? So
they get state funding first.
They get state funding first, and then Avenues is roughly about 75-25, so 75 public funding, 25% private.
And you get money from our township, and hopefully there's some others that do.
Yep. Where our Center for Independence is, and we've done the same process with them.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anybody else?
Oh, department heads, any questions for you? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So before we adjourn, we have to figure out what we're going to do from this point on in terms of timeline. So, Ian, do you have, can you talk to us a little bit about the timeline of making decisions and perhaps refresh our memory? I don't, actually, you weren't here last year, Ian, were you at this time? But perhaps you can tell us how we did this last year, or perhaps Rich, you can tell us how we did it last year, and the board members can decide, you know, if they want to do it the same way, and what are our time limits?
Okay. So what we've done in the past is I'll take all of, tomorrow I'll send out an Excel sheet to all the department heads, and they'll give me the recommendations.
And when are theirs due?
Theirs will be due like the second week of November, first or second week of November, I'll get theirs. And then I will compile that into a spreadsheet for the November board meeting. And then at the November board meeting, the board can take a look at it, decide on their recommendations. And then after that, we'll have a meeting with department heads, finalize our consensus recommendations, give it back to you for the December board meeting, and then we'll make the final decision on how much funding each organization will get.
So the board will get, at the November meeting, the department head recommendations.
That's right.
All right, but we, board members, have to get our recommendations back to you.
Yeah.
By when?
Before our department head meeting, which is scheduled for December 12th. So like first week of December would be great.
I feel like the 10th, like the 8th or the 10th for some reason sticks out in my mind last year. It's like one.
That would be fine. Yeah.
All right.
December 10th would be great, sure, if that's.
Kim, what day do we want to share?
I will check. Now, if I have a question about a specific candidate that I would like input from, how do I, like, is that something we can discuss, or is that?
So are you saying you want to ask?
I have a question, yeah, about.
That's maybe something you can direct to Ian, and he can ask them, and then email your response, their response to all of us.
I guess, I mean, we're not allowed to discuss it now.
Oh, well, we can discuss it now, but there's no one here to give you an answer unless.
No, I have a question for them about one of the
okay.
people, but I didn't know if it's like.
Oh, no, we can discuss it.
We'll talk about it now.
Yeah, I don't see why
Is that
not.
allowed?
Yeah, we're
Just
here.
December 10th is a Tuesday, December 12th is a Thursday.
Yeah.
And we just email our responses to you
Yes.
by that day.
Yeah, that would be fine.
And what do you want, December 10th, 12th, doesn't matter?
The meeting will be on the 12th, so the 10th would
The
be
10th, okay.
better for me, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So, what was your question?
Is it okay. I just had a question about the Jocelyn group. And just like when I found when I was reading through their application, they basically were sort of like dragging us for like, dropping the funding every year. And then when I was looking at the amounts from last year, there was like a distinct difference between like the amount that the electeds had sort of averaged and then what you guys had, and I figured that you guys know more than we do, so I'm just wondering why that difference, like if there's anything in particular that you can share. Does that make sense? Or
Did
is
you guys
that?
have difficulty with it? That was my question too. With Jocelyn.
I'll let the rest of the members on the panel, state whatever they want to state. So for me, for the last 5 years, their budget went from $5 million to $35 million.
Okay.
And the average salaries are between $200,000 and $300,000.
Yeah, I saw that. I almost said something, and I just didn't know if it was
right. So one of the things I'd rather give some of our funding to the smaller agencies, Wings, wherever else. Their budget really exploded over these past 2 years. There's maybe some other couple of smaller reasons, but for me, that's one of the big ones. I don't know what else.
I must say, what she was referring to is, we had a mental health facility in Bridge that closed kind of like overnight. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Jocelyn Center and the Maine Township mental health, they really came kind of to our rescue at that time and helped a lot, but it was like 8 years ago.
Yeah, they did, yes.
So, I mean, they really did step up.
Right.
So that's why we had increased the funding so much, because they were providing services that we were getting that were kind of left in the lurch.
But they're not really doing those services anymore, right, in the same capacity?
Well, they are. They're not commenting that. They don't do the psychiatric service partnership anymore with us, but that's probably more of a question for Richard.
The request is 141 too.
Yeah.
Do you guys all notice that? 141, so it's quite a jump. Right? I mean, maybe they really need the money. Or maybe there's a reason for that. But maybe there's that message to us that, right, it could be construed that way. It's a message to us. We think you're treating us
Here with the
unfair.
partnership we had for a couple of years, but they're providing the same services and additional services at their physical location. Or they actually have multiple different locations that they have now.
Do they have any here in Maine Township, any treatment?
In Maine Township, they have ones up in Lake County as well, and a new building in North Brook as well.
budget, and it didn't seem like the way that you talk to people when you're asking for a lot of money. And but I just was wondering if there was something that I didn't know that you guys knew, because it seemed like you guys were all in, consensus sort of about what you were wanting to give them. So I just wanted to get like the inside scoop.
So I heard her saying that this is not sustainable, but would it turn away Maine Township residents? Is that what she was trying to like kind of say to us? It seemed like that's the message I got. She said it's not sustainable. So is that suggesting that if Maine Township residents go there, they're not going to be served?
It's more of the wait time. She's explained before to me that where they get funding from, the township, so the locations that are providing funding, their residents get to be served more quickly. So they're still serving Maine Township residents, but they're not getting the services quickly as they did before. That's my understanding of it. So I don't think they're turning people away. They just don't have to wait longer.
But how do you gauge that? I mean,
The employee average was 57 for them, and the trustee, the elected official, the average is higher.
It was like 70 something.
Yeah, right. The board average is 71. So, from 57 to 71, that's not that big of a
Well,
gap.
but if you look at a lot of the other ones, like, we're pretty aligned.
Yeah,
on
right,
most
there
of them.
isn't that.
But I was just curious. I mean,
Yeah.
the salary thing really bothered me, even last year, because I'm like, well, I almost wanted to ask them, well, have your salaries gone up at all? It just seemed, then we've got other people who are like, oh, I make $30,000 a year, and they're, trying to help homeless kids, or whatever it is, and just, I don't know. Not that it should prevent them from getting aid, but I don't know.
Right. Just before we wind up, of course, we're having a lot of meetings this month. We're going to be here Tuesday. And a couple of things that you have to think about are things that we could address. They'll be on the agenda Tuesday. Or I understand there's some thought we might have a special meeting to address those items. One being elected official compensation. Another one that we could address at this meeting, or could address at a special meeting, is the levy. So this, I think I handed it out to everyone. Jim, I don't think I got a chance to give you yours. You just stepped up to the table a little later. So that's just information regarding our bank balances, regarding applicable law and the amounts that our expenses have been in our balances. So that's just to give you a little time to look at it. So we will have that. We'll have a full agenda probably, and a list of upcoming events. I was going to put your event, you're still having the turkey giveaway, right, on the 23rd, is that right?
Yeah, I was going to.
All right, do you know where it's going to be at? I'll write it down on the schedule if you tell me. Do you know where it's going to be at, like what church it's going to be at? Do you know, your turkey giveaway?
In the Chicago Mar Thoma Church.
Chicago, what's it?
Mar, M-A-R, Thoma Church, at Emerson and the border.
In Rogers Park?
No. Is there in this, Emerson and border?
Oh, I thought you said in Chicago.
No. The name of the church is the Chicago Mar Thoma Church.
You're a little misnamed.
I think, but the ring is spelled.
The Chicago Church of Displays.
All right.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying.
Just so you know.
I still don't, but I'll try to
Took me a while,
find
but I
it.
got
And then GPS they won't have. Or is it sure?
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's partner and Emerson.
Mark Noma?
Yeah, Mar Thoma, partner and Emerson.
That's November 23rd?
November 23rd, 9:30 to 12 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
And Commissioner, maybe Trevor also is getting us 200 turkeys, but we're going to give them away here on the week before, so they won't be competing with each other. We're about 16th and 23rd. So we'll have that on the schedule that we're passing out. And anyone else have any announcements or comments while we're here before we adjourn? Anyone else? Okay. Motion motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Want to take roll call?
Supervisor Graham?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Corbett?
Yes.
Trustee Mahmoud?
Yes.
Trustee Mali?
Yes.
Administrator Berman?
Yes.
Head Department Head, please.